family matter. Every breath I breathe is burdened by the tension in the air between us, which feels as dense as fog. Alicia looks around warily, her eyes darting as if she's looking for someone who might be listening in. Her voice drops to a secretive whisper as she takes a step closer. She says, "Bennett regrets rejecting you, Aurora," in a sweet voice that sounds like she's giving a perverse gift. "He desires your return." Her words taunt me for a moment as they linger in the air. Something old and painful is simmering deep inside of me, and I can feel my heart skip a beat, but I push it down immediately. After everything, Bennett isn't worthy of my thoughts. Right now, he's the last person I want to hear about. My fists clench at my sides as I gaze at Alicia. I struggle to maintain my composure as I bite out, "I don't care what Bennett wants." He made his decision. I was thrown away by him. With that sickly sweet smile still on her face, she shrugs. "Did he? Did you push him away instead?" "Bennett always had a special place in his heart for you, you know. Perhaps he simply made a mistake." Alicia's remarks pierce old scars that I believed I had long since healed. Now that Callum is here, however, things are different. I am unique. I don't care about Bennett's regrets anymore, or at least that's what I tell myself as my heartbeat becomes faster. I firmly state I'm not interested in Bennett, in an attempt to terminate the discussion. Alicia, however, doesn't give up. She never does. I can almost see the gears working in her head as her gaze sharpens as if she's looking for a weakness to take advantage of. She takes a step closer and adds, "Oh, come on, Aurora. You really don't mean that, do you? Your first love was him. That doesn't simply go." As the rage rises inside of me, I tense, every muscle in my body tensing. I try to remain calm, but my voice rises as I yell, "I said I don't care." "Alicia, he made his decision. I went on when he rejected me." With a slight smirk on her lips, Alicia lifts an eyebrow. "But did you truly move on? Or are you merely acting?" I glare at her, not letting her get under my skin, and my chest gets tighter. She has always acted in this way, playing on my fears and causing difficulties merely for the sake of it. I am aware that she is currently doing it. I won't give her the satisfaction she wants since she's attempting to shake me and make me doubt everything. "Bennett is no longer important to me," I bite my teeth and declare. Any emotions I may have had for him are no longer there. I now adore Callum. She briefly loses her smile before swiftly regaining it and dismissing my remarks as inconsequential. She adds softly, "If you say so," but there's a deeper, more cunning look in her eyes. Cassandra moves forward before I can react, her presence suddenly more threatening. She has been silent the entire time, observing and waiting, but now she enters the game with a voice full of bittersweetness. "Oh, but is Callum aware of relationship with Bennett?" With a head tilt that suggests real curiosity, she asks. She seems to be relishing every moment of this, as seen by the amusement in her eyes. My chest shaking with my heart. I want to object, but I can't find the right words. For an instant, I feel as though the ground has been torn out from beneath me, and the allegation looms large in the air. "I haven't," I start, but Cassandra interrupts with a scathing chuckle. She smiles broadly and coos, "Oh, come on, Aurora. Have you not been keeping secrets? You didn't discuss your brief encounter with Bennett with Callum, did you?" I feel a chilling, paralyzing panic. How are they aware of that? I've been quite cautious. When Bennett approached me for closure, it was an error, one encounter, one moment of vulnerability. I didn't tell Callum because I didn't want to cause him any harm or make our relationship more difficult. And now Cassandra and Alicia are standing here, taking advantage of me. I try to recover control by taking a step back, but I can feel the walls closing in. I say in a trembling voice, "It wasn't like that," but even I find the conviction in my words to be lacking. Alicia and Cassandra look at one another, their smiles spreading as they take advantage of my uneasiness. They are aware that they have touched a sensitive spot, and they will do everything in their power to exploit it. With a mockingly calming tone, Alicia responds, "It's okay, Aurora. We're not here to pass judgment. All we want to do is assist. Ultimately, secrets tend to surface, don't they? Additionally, we don't want Callum to believe that you have been unfaithful." The implication makes my stomach turn, and my mind spins with 1,000 possible outcomes, all of which include Callum learning the truth and staring at me with the same mistrust and skepticism that have persisted from the start of the investigation. I take a deep breath and push myself to keep my head up so they can't see how scared I am. I say, "You're lying," with more force in my voice. "You're attempting to cause trouble." Cassandra never stops smiling. Perhaps. However, we might not be. Aurora, what's the harm in telling Callum the truth? Why not tell him everything if you have nothing to conceal? Her challenge is profound, and I'm sure she's right. This is coming back to bother me after I've been hiding it from Callum. I can't let them win, though. I can't allow them to separate Callum and me. I firmly say, I don't owe you any explanations, as I squint at them. You have no business knowing what transpires between Callum and me. Alicia's eyes shine with joy as she lets out a quiet laugh. Yes, Aurora, but it is. We're like family, you see, and family members look out for one another, or destroy one another. Everything is up to you. Her remarks give me the chills, and I realize that I'm in danger. They are aware of Bennett. They are aware of my covert meeting. Additionally, they intend to use it against me in order to sour relations with Callum. I must put an end to them. However, how? With their labor done for the time being, Alicia and Cassandra take a step back and smile broadly. Doubt has been sown, and I can already feel it spreading in around my heart, choking me. As I watch them go, the weight of what they've said makes my chest swell. I can't allow them to ruin everything that Callum and I have created. But I can feel the fissures growing wider and the ground beneath me growing more unstable with each step they take. They are aware of Bennett. And now, before everything falls apart, I need to figure out how to keep my connection with Callum intact. There is a deafening hush as the door closes. My secrets weigh heavily on me, and I know that no matter what I do, Alicia and Cassandra will not stop until they have destroyed me. And I'm not sure if I'll make it through this time. Face to face. I sat on the edge of the bed with my hands twisted in my lap, the tension in the room oppressive. My stomach turns over with nervousness. I've mentally practiced the words a dozen times, but none of them seem to fit. They all feel too frail and helpless to withstand what I'm going to say. With his back to me, Callum stands by the window. Everything feels colder because of the eerie glow provided by the moonlight's long-lasting shadows on the floor. My heart beats steadily in my chest, and the longer the silence lasts, the louder it appears to get. I am aware that I must inform him about the visit from Alicia and Cassandra. I can no longer hide this from him. However, when I open my mouth, I am tightly held back by my fear of what he could say or think. I make myself talk, but my voice sounds a little shaky. Callum. I start out very quietly, speaking hardly louder than a whisper. I need to share something with you. He doesn't turn around. Even though we are in the same room, I can feel the distance between us because of the tenseness in his body and the tightness in his back muscles under his shirt. Since the charges regarding my pregnancy, it appears as though an imperceptible wall has been erected between us, and it seems to be becoming taller every day. With hesitation, I add, Alicia and Cassandra came to see me today. They appeared suddenly. They desired to speak. There is silence for a moment. I feel the weight of the confession bearing down on me, and my heartbeat quickens. Callum's face is unreadable when he eventually turns around, his eyes black with something I can't quite place, and his mouth clenched. Why didn't you tell me they were here? His voice is tight with frustration as he asks. The question pierces me like a knife. Although his voice isn't loud, it's piercing and brimming with barely suppressed rage. That was unexpected. Certainly, I expected him to be unhappy, but his tone of hardness and edge makes me shudder. My mouth opens, but first there is no sound. The words are stuck in my throat, even though I want to explain and help him comprehend. When I finally manage to speak, I stutter. I was going to, but I didn't want to bother you. I pondered. What did you think, Aurora? Callum interrupts, taking a step closer and stiffening his face. That you would simply deal with it alone? Without informing me? Without even offering me the opportunity to keep you safe? His words are tinged with disappointment, and his irritation is evident. I feel as though the room's air is being drawn out, making it impossible for me to breathe. He has never been this aloof and walled off from me before. As I try to think of the perfect way to let him know that I didn't mean to withhold anything from him, my heart falls more into my chest. I mumble, my voice breaking beneath the weight of my own shame. I didn't want to make things worse. Worse? With a hand through his hair, he laughs sourly. You believe that things are better when secrets are kept? I argue, I wasn't keeping secrets, but the words seem weak, even to me. I am aware that's not totally accurate. I did conceal things from him, such as the encounter with Bennett, but now everything is getting out of hand. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I'm not sure how to correct them. I repeat, holding on to what little resistance I have left. I was going to tell you, I say. I had no idea how. Something inside of me is broken as I see Callum shake his head, his eyes full of disappointment. Aurora, I'm not sure if I can trust you anymore. I feel the tears stinging at the corners of my eyes as his words strike me like a physical blow. The room seems to be whirling as if the floor were giving way beneath me. I never imagined that he would say those things about someone other than us. I move in his direction while begging in my voice. Callum, please, you must trust me. I had no intention of hurting you. I simply was afraid of losing you. Then he looks at me, truly looks at me, and for a moment I see the hurt that has been brewing since the allegations started, the vulnerability underneath the rage. However, it vanishes as swiftly as it appeared, to be replaced by the icy mask he has been wearing all night. You wish to keep me around? His voice is hollow as he asks, so why did you continue to see Bennett? Why did you not inform me of that? My breath catches in my throat as I freeze. I believed I had clarified everything and that we had gone past that. However, it's obvious that it's still there and continues to gnaw away at him. I feel like I'm drowning as the guilt and the terror all come at me at once. I hardly raise my voice above a whisper when I say, I didn't mean for that to happen. It was an error. I believed I was acting appropriately. Callum's face remains unsoftened. Being honest with me from the start would have been the right thing to do. I try to stabilize myself by taking a shaky breath as tears cloud my vision. I've run out of things to say. It seems like every word only makes the situation worse. I apologize, I mumble, my voice cracking. I sincerely apologize. However, Callum remains silent. He doesn't reassure me that everything will be all right or that we can resolve this. Instead, he simply stands there, his stillness deafening, his gaze far away. It dawns on me then that I may have already lost him. I'm at a loss as to how to heal the abyss of mistrust that looms between us. Too many mistakes have been made by me, and now there's not much time left for me to correct them. Twisting the knife. Tension permeates the morning air. I sense it as soon as I enter the pack house, the pressure of the looks and the whispers that seem to follow me everywhere. A well-known knot of anxiety tightens in my chest as my heart sinks. This feels different, even though I've always understood that this pack can be vicious when it comes to gossip. More malevolent, more intimate. Greta is here. I'm positive it is. She has been lying to the pack about Bennett, about me, and about my pregnancy. People have turned against me because of her venomous voice which has slithered through the pack house's walls. Their criticism is like jagged claws piercing my flesh. I overhear bits of talk among a bunch of pack members as I walk by them. She has reportedly been skulking around with Bennett the entire time. She can't handle Callum's charms. She has been deceiving everyone. The infant. Do you even believe it to be his? I get a wave of nausea that makes my stomach turn. I want to yell at them, to tell them the truth until they are forced to believe me. I'm aware that it won't matter, though. Once established, rumors consume everything in their path as they grow like wildfire, and I'm in danger of being burned alive by that fire right now. As I push myself to continue walking with my head up high and pretend that their remarks don't bother me, I can feel my hands shaking, but I'm breaking on the inside. The shaky hope I've been holding on to, that I can make this right, that Callum and I can weather this storm, is being chipped away with every rumor and accusing look. I manage to get to the kitchen in the hopes of finding some quiet, but the tension is oppressive even here. 2 pack members look in my direction, but as soon as they see me, their conversation ends. They make no effort to conceal their look, and the ensuing quiet is dark and judgmental. I try to calm my breathing by turning my back on them, but it doesn't help. I'm being crushed and suffocated by the weight of it all. I can't handle this on my own. Not when the pack has already made up its minds about me and determined that I am guilty. I clutch the counter's edge, my knuckles whitened. Isolating me and making me feel alienated in my own house was just what Greta intended. She is strengthening her hold on the pack, and she is gaining every second I remain mute and allow these whispers to continue. What can I do, though? When no one is prepared to hear the truth, how can I combat lies? I'm not able to accomplish this alone. I need Callum to support me, to believe in me, to be by my side. But in my heart, I'm afraid. How about if he doesn't? Is it possible that he is already drifting away? In the hallway, I see Callum pacing back and forth while wearing a frustrated expression. I should feel comforted by his presence, but instead I have a sinking sensation that gnaws at my insides and a rush of terror. When he sees me, he glances up, but there's something in his eyes that I can't quite identify. Perhaps doubt? Reluctance? I detest the fact that I can no longer tell. He replies in a low voice, "They're talking about you," yet it's impossible to avoid the strain in his voice. "About us. Concerning Bennett." The customary knot rises in my throat as I swallow forcefully. I understand. I am aware of the rumors. His countenance shows frustration as he runs a hand through his hair. Greta has been quite busy. She ensures that everyone is aware of everything. My chest gets constricted. Even though Greta has always been unrelenting, this seems like a planned assault meant to destroy me and separate me from the flock, from Callum. I tremble as I say, "Callum, I can't stop them." Regardless of what I say, they don't trust me. They have already found me guilty. He doesn't answer immediately, and that silence hurts more than words could ever do. I move in his direction, grabbing for his hand, but he pulls away just enough for me to sense our separation. "Are you convinced?" My voice is hardly more than a whisper as I ask. Callum's jaw clenches and he averts his gaze, as though the response is too challenging to utter aloud. It breaks my heart. He doesn't have to express himself. I can tell everything I need to know from his quiet. After a long pause, he replies in a strained voice, "I want to believe you. However, this is a lot. The charges and rumors aren't simply disappearing. They are becoming worse." I blink away the tears that are burning behind my eyes because I don't want to cry in front of him. "Callum, I did nothing wrong. You must trust me." He gives me a serious look at that point, and for a split second, I see the man I fell in love with, the one who supported me through it all. The skepticism that has been developing between us since this nightmare started, however, eventually replaces that expression. His voice is hardly heard as he continues, "I don't know what to believe anymore. I felt like I was stabbed in the chest by those remarks. I feel the breath escape my lungs, and for a time I can't move, can't think. He doesn't know what to believe. After everything we've been through, after everything I've done to prove myself to him, he's still questioning me?" I say, "I'm not lying," in a louder voice. "I've never told you lies." His hands lock into fists at his sides as he inhales deeply. "Aurora, I know you're telling the truth, but this circumstances, it isn't that easy. The pack is rebelling against us and you. That's what Greta is doing. Furthermore, I have no idea how to stop it. I say in a begging manner, I need you to stand by me. I need your faith in me, your trust. I can't fight this by myself, but we can fight it together." The quiet between us is thick and intolerable as he doesn't answer straight away. At last, he sighs deeply, his shoulders slumping as though the entire world is bearing down on him. "I'm trying, Aurora," he murmurs. "However, this goes beyond us. They will not forget and forgive the group, and if Greta continues to insist on this..." He rambles on, but I can tell what's on his mind. The pack will entirely turn against me if Greta continues to press. And I might lose everything if that occurs. I saw Callum turning away with a puzzled look on his face. He's attempting to support me and cling to our possessions, but I can sense him drifting away. I'm not sure how much longer I can hang on until everything breaks down, and the uncertainty in his eyes is getting stronger. Greta's hold on the pack is getting stronger, and every second that goes by, I lose Callum, the only person who can support me in this fight. Furthermore, I'm not sure how long I can keep him around before I lose him entirely. Unraveling. I'm startled by Mia's words as she carries me into a dimly lit area of the pack house, her hands shaking a little and her face going white. Even before she makes a single word, the intensity in her face chills me. With terrified eyes, she whispers, "Aurora, I heard something. It's awful. I mean really awful." My heart is already racing in my chest as I frown. If it wasn't serious, Mia wouldn't draw me aside like this. What is it? She looks around to make sure no one is listening as she breathes. Greta. Tonight she intends to meet with the betrayer. I feel as though the walls are closing in on me, and my stomach drops like a stone. The betrayer. The one who has been working against us and causing this catastrophe and confusion. The mere notion that Greta is working with them, meeting with them, makes me feel angry and afraid. Are you certain? I try not to tremble when I ask, but it's obvious that I'm afraid. Mia gives a short nod, her face pallid. In the garden I heard her conversing. I was there, but she believes no one knows. I heard it, everything. My mind is running over all of the potential outcomes and potential hazards. Tonight, a rendezvous with the traitor. Where did she say? With a more urgent tone, I ask. This may be my only opportunity to reveal Greta as the cunning snake that she is. However, I have to know quickly where it is. With a look that alternates between dread and resolve, Mia bites her lip. Her voice is hardly audible above a whisper when she says, "The old watchtower. After midnight." The watchtower. It is largely deserted now and lies on the edge of the pack's area. It's the ideal location for a private gathering, out of sight. When I realize how serious the issue is, my heartbeat quickens. Are you certain? I need to hear it, so I ask again. This is enormous. If Mia is correct, Greta is actively collaborating with the adversary rather than only spreading rumors. Everything will be different if I can catch her in the act. Mia's voice quivers as she pleads. I swear, Aurora, I heard her myself. However, you must exercise caution. If you are caught, I understand her meaning, even though she doesn't finish the phrase. I will be caught snooping around by Greta or the traitor. Any remaining strength and shaky trust I have in this pack will be destroyed. Even worse, I might be really endangering myself. Who knows what the traitor is capable of if they are dangerous enough to act against the pack. I let out a quick exhale, my thoughts already focused on tonight. I must do this. There is nothing I can do. The only way to stop Greta, save Callum, and save myself is to do this. However, Mia is correct. I must exercise caution. Have you heard anything else? My hands shaking a little, I ask. Mia gives a head shake. Just that they'll meet at the tower after midnight. Greta appeared, self-assured, but I'm not sure who the traitor is, as if she had already won. Something like that makes me feel frightened. Greta has always been strategic and proactive, but this? I didn't realize how risky this was. I try to ground myself in the present by clenching my hands. Time is of the essence. Greta will elude me once more if I wait, and I won't have another chance to stop her. I have a plan in mind already, but there is no denying the risk. What if Mia is mistaken? Could this be a trap? However, what if she is correct? What if this is my only chance to reveal Greta's treachery? I whisper, more to myself than to Mia. I have to go. I cannot watch in silence as Greta and the traitor scheme. Mia adds in an anxious tone, Aurora, you can't do this alone. With beseeching eyes, she takes hold of my arm. Please allow me to accompany you. I give a hard shake of my head. No, Mia, I cannot allow you to suffer harm if something goes wrong. However, if you travel alone. I interrupted her with a firm but gentle tone. I'll be careful. You must remain here. I need someone to know the truth in case something goes wrong. Despite the tears in her eyes, Mia nods. There is no other option, but she is as aware as I am that this is risky. She murmurs, Aurora, just promise me you'll be careful. They won't let you leave if they catch you. Even though the fear in my chest feels like it's choking me, I force a tiny, comforting grin. I'll exercise caution, I swear. After a brief period of hesitation, Mia hugs me tightly. For a moment, I almost change my mind because I can feel the fear pouring off of her. However, I am unable to. I cannot let this opportunity pass me by. Mia's hands tighten around mine as I release the hug, and her eyes urgently search mine. You're going to return? I nod, but I am unable to guarantee it. Not at all. Not with what I'm going to enter. With certainty in my voice, I say, I'll be back. In my heart, though, I know that tonight has the power to alter everything. I get ready for the night as the sun goes down and the pack house is enveloped in darkness. As the hours pass, I get closer to midnight and the point at which everything might fall apart. Something that could wipe us all out is being planned by Greta and the traitor, and I have a single opportunity to stop them. I inhale deeply, bracing myself for what lies next. I'll either finally reveal Greta's betrayal tonight or else I'll be completely destroyed. Into the trap. The night air is thick and heavy, as if the whole forest is holding its breath. I remain close to the woods, my heart hammering in my chest so loudly I'm sure someone will hear it. The ancient tower looms ahead, its silhouette dark and ominous against the starry sky. My heart quickens with each step closer, knowing this spot might either contain the key to my rescue or lead me into a trap. I squat low, creeping forward with precise, methodical motions. Every snap of a tree or rustle of leaves sets my nerves on edge. I can't afford to make a sound, can't afford to be caught now. The closer I get, the more my concern rises. Greta is in there, conversing with the offender. The concept alone makes my blood boil, but I push myself to keep focused. I need to know who she's working with. I need to stop them, once and for all. But one false move, and I'll lose everything. The watchtower sits in front of me, abandoned and deteriorating, its stone walls covered with moss and vegetation. It's the appropriate site for a covert gathering, concealed away from the pack's territory. I can see a small glimmer of light coming from within, and the sound of low voices floats on the breeze. I push myself against the wall, my back flat on the cold stone. I take a long breath, steadying myself. There's no turning back now. I creep around the side of the tower, remaining in the darkness as much as I can. My breath is short, and my body feels taut with expectancy. Every feeling in me is shouting to escape, to get out before it's too late, yet I push myself to come closer. There's a little breach in the wall ahead of me, barely large enough to peek through. I inch forward, cautious not to unsettle the loose stones under my feet. As I approach the hole, I push my eye against it, hoping to look inside. Greta's voice slips out, low and whispered. I can't see her, but I can hear the chilly edge to her tone. We've waited long enough. It's time to take her down. Her words send a shudder down my spine. Take her down. She's talking about me. I clench my teeth, rage bubbling just under the surface. The spy is with her, but from where I'm standing, I can't figure out who it is. The shadows are too dense, and the angle is improper. I need to get closer. I cautiously move my weight, attempting to locate a better location to look from. My heart accelerates as I listen to their discussion, every word infusing me with greater terror. I want to make sure everything is set, Greta says, her voice sharp and crisp. No more mistakes. We can't afford any more delays. I told you I've got it under control, the second voice adds, this one low and gravelly. The rogue. My gut tightens with terror and eagerness. If only I could see their face, if I could only get a little closer. Control, Greta scoffs. You said that the last time, and look where it got us. A pause. I hold my breath, waiting for the response. We were close, the liar says, their voice sour. Closer than you think. This time, she won't slip through our fingers. I shudder. I've always knew Greta was wicked, but this is something else completely. She's deadly, and whatever she's working with, they're just as ready to see me fall. I inch a bit closer, sheltering behind the collapsing stone wall. My heart is racing in my chest as I struggle to hear more. We've been waiting too long for this, Greta adds, her tone harsh and indignant. I'm done playing games. Aurora is vulnerable, and I don't want to give her another opportunity to wiggle out of this. She's already created too much trouble. My breath stops in my throat. Vulnerable. She's talking about everything. About the rumors, the council's probe, and now this. It's all been part of her plan. She's been preparing my breakdown from the very beginning. And what about Callum? The spy asks, their voice a bit softer now, almost unsure. Greta chuckles gently, a haunting sound that makes my blood run cold. Callum is already doubting her. We don't need to do much more to drive him away altogether. Let Aurora dig her own grave. We'll step in when the moment is right. I swallow hard, my hands shaking. They're attempting to turn Callum against me. I lean forward a bit too much, and a stone slips under my foot. The sound is faint, hardly discernible. Yet I freeze, my heart freezing in my chest. Did you hear that? The spy adds abruptly, their voice keen and alert. I push myself against the wall, my breath held, praying they won't discover me. Probably just the wind, Greta says dismissively, but her tone is more guarded now. Still, we shouldn't linger. We've got everything we need for now. I'll manage the rest." I feel a surge of relief sweep over me as their voices start to recede, but the peace is short-lived. I've heard enough to know exactly how far this treachery reaches, but I still don't know the traitor's identity. I'm so near, yet the shadows are keeping them concealed from me. "I've waited long enough," Greta's voice says coldly as they walk farther away. "It's time to take her down." My stomach churns. Take me down. Those words reverberate in my thoughts like a death sentence. I've got to act, but I'm running out of time. The noises fade altogether, and I'm left standing in the dark, my pulse pumping and my thoughts spinning. I'm so close to uncovering the traitor's identity, but I'm not sure whether I have enough time to stop what's coming. Greta's plan is already in action, and the weight of it pounds down on me like a crushing force. If I don't act soon, it'll be too late. I walk back into the dark, my pulse beating as I evaluate my next action. I have one opportunity to expose them. But am I too late? Untitled chapter. The cool night air brushes over my skin as I lean my body closer to the stone wall, scarcely daring to breathe. My heart thunders in my chest. The suspense is excruciating. I bend closer, careful not to make a sound, attempting to hear any more of the exchange between Greta and the spy. For a minute, there's quiet. I'm holding my breath, waiting for something. Anything that will give me an indication to who it is. Greta stands aside, and in that one horrifying second, my world falls. Bennett, he's standing there, his face gloomy, his stare frigid as stone. I blink, my heart stuttering, trying to fathom what I'm witnessing. Bennett is the enemy. I swallow back a gasp, my whole body stiffening in astonishment. The guy who once professed to love me, who disregarded me and left me shattered, had been working with Greta all along. My mind racing, trying to make sense of everything, but the pieces fit into place with horrible certainty. This entire time, it was him. A wave of illness rushes over me. My legs feel weak under me. Bennett, the guy who said he'd cared for me, the one who tossed me away when I needed him most, has been behind all of this. The murmurs, the pack turning against me, Callum's mounting doubt, it was all part of their plan. I lean tighter against the wall, my fingers clutching the rough stones, as if I need to anchor myself, to grab onto something substantial. Bennett, who spurned me, is now working with Greta to ruin all I've created. I shut my eyes for a time, battling the terrible sting of deceit. It feels like a knife twisting in my chest, one I hadn't anticipated, even from him. How could I have been so blind? As the astonishment passes, fury creeps in. Hot, blazing fury. I should have known. I should have spotted the indications. How long has this been going on? I push myself to be silent, even though every part of me wants to rush in there and confront him. But it would simply play into their hands. I need additional facts. I need to know exactly how deep this goes. "You promised me she'd be out of the way by now." Bennett's voice is gruff, full of fury. The harshness in his tone makes my blood run cold. My breath freezes in my throat as I listen, feeling my heart shatter all over again. He isn't talking about me like I'm a person anymore. I'm simply a hurdle. An issue to be solved. Greta sighs, her voice dripping with phony tenderness. "These things take time, Bennett. Aurora's not as simple to break as we thought." His jaw tightens, his gaze narrowing. "I don't care how strong she is. I want her gone. You claimed this would be fast. I've waited long enough." "I never said it would be easy," Greta answers smoothly, but there's a tinge of irritation in her voice. "But don't worry. It's nearly over." Almost over? What are they planning? I can feel my stomach twisting into knots as fear settles deep in my bones. Bennett crosses his arms. His look was steely as steel. "I want her back, Greta. You promised me I'd have her once Callum's out of the way. I won't wait any longer." My heart stutters and a shudder goes down my spine. He wants me back? The whole thought is terrible, yet it makes sense today. He's not attempting to ruin me solely for revenge. He wants me back, but only on his terms, as if I'm some property he can retrieve. Greta sends out a gentle chuckle. "Patience, Bennett. We'll break her soon enough. Once Callum loses trust in her fully, she'll have no one left. That's when we strike." I tighten my fists, my nails biting into my palms. They want to demolish all I have with Callum, to tear down the life I've fought so hard to restore. The parts start to come together, producing a picture more horrific than I could have imagined. Bennett denied me, pushed me away when I was at my lowest, and now he wants to come back into my life and claim me again. But he's not only after me. He's wanting everything. My delight, my strength, my bond to Callum. I won't let them win. I listen as they continue to chat, every word making my rage grow more. I need to get out of here to warn Callum, but I also need to be sensible. I can't let them know I've overheard everything, not yet. If I confront them now, they'll twist it against me, just as they've twisted everything else. Callum's already starting to doubt her, Greta continues, her tone chilly. It won't be long before he turns his back on her completely. Once that occurs, Aurora will come crawling back, damaged and desperate. My heart hurts at the prospect of Callum losing trust in me. I know things have been tough between us, but I can't let this destroy us. I have to think that he'll trust me, that he'll see through their falsehoods before it's too late. And then what? Bennett asks, his voice harsh with rage. What's your endgame, Greta? Greta smirks. While I can't see it, I can sense the smugness pouring off of her. Once Aurora is out of the way, the pack will be mine. Callum will be weak, and we'll have entire control. My gut churns with loathing. Greta's yearning has no boundaries. She doesn't only want to destroy me, she wants to steal everything, to dominate Callum and get power for herself. And Bennett is right there, assisting her every step of the way. Bennett's voice softens, becoming almost mournful. Aurora was mine once. She'll be mine again. My blood boils at his words. I was never yours. The notion of being with him now, after everything, makes my skin crawl. He didn't want me when I needed him, and now he thinks he can simply take me back like nothing happened. I won't let them do this to me, to Callum, to our pack. As their chatter fades down, I retreat into the dark, my heart thumping in my chest. I've heard enough. I know what they're planning, and I know what I have to do. But as I slide away from the turret, the weight of the truth weighs down on me. Bennett and Greta have been conspiring to ruin me, and I'm running out of time to stop them. I don't know whether Callum will believe me. I don't know whether I'm strong enough to fight this battle on my own. But I do know one thing. I won't go down without a fight. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for what's to follow. The truth is out, and now it's up to me to stop them before they ruin all I hold dear. Caught. I barely manage to stifle the cry rising in my throat as the sharp crack of a twig resonates under my foot. Damn it. My heart pounds so loudly that I think they can hear it too. The chilly night air wraps around me like a suffocating blanket, making my every nerve tremble with anxiety. I freeze, pressing myself even further against the wall, hoping to the moon that the sound goes undetected. But Bennett's head snaps up swiftly, his eyes narrowing as they scan the darkness. His whole body turns rigid, and I can practically feel the gears moving in his mind. I hold my breath, pushing myself to fade into the darkness. My heartbeat pounds in my ears, a continuous reminder that one incorrect action may end everything. One false breath, and it's done. Bennett's gaze searches the surroundings, his nostrils twitching as if he's attempting to sense something. Or someone. Me. Did you hear that? Bennett mutters, his voice low and tight, but not low enough to escape my quick ears. Greta's eyes follow his line of sight, her brow furrowing. Her expression, normally so cool and harsh, suddenly changes with uncertainty. What is it? She says, her voice still frigid, but I can hear the edge in it, the uncertainty. My blood rushes cold as Bennett takes a step closer to where I'm concealed. I attempt to calm the quick hammering of my heart, knowing that if I lose my cool, I'll give myself away. I can't let them catch me. Not now, not when I've exposed their schemes. I push myself harder against the wall, feeling the rough stones bite into my back. Stay still, Aurora. Don't breathe. Don't move. Greta's eyes skim the darkness again, her lips wrinkling in wrath. It's probably nothing, she answers, but the tension in her voice tells me she's not sure. Nothing? Bennett's voice sharpens and his eyes narrow more as he glances into the darkness. I know I heard something. The threat in his voice makes my skin tingle. I watch his every motion, knowing that if I even make the tiniest sound, it's over. I'm caught. My pulse races faster as Bennett's feet creep closer, his every action deliberate and forceful. I hold my breath, frightened that the sound of my pulse alone may expose me. He's scanning the shadows, seeking any clue that someone is hidden. Greta sighs behind him, her voice angry. You're being paranoid, Bennett. There's no one here. She turns, evidently ready to depart, but Bennett doesn't follow her lead. His eyes are fixated on the location only a few feet from where I'm concealed. Every muscle in my body tenses as I inch back slowly, praying that the darkness will continue to hide me. But it's a delicate game I'm playing. One false move, one missing step, and I'll be unmasked. Bennett pauses cold in his stride, his eyes narrowing, as they latch onto the location where I hide behind the wall. My stomach twists and a new surge of anxiety floods through me. He's gazing directly at me. "Greta," Bennett says, his voice low and menacing, "there's someone here." My heart bangs into my chest, and I have to bite my lip to keep from shouting. I inch back another step, my foot grazing the edge of the stones. I can't remain here, I have to relocate. But Bennett's eyes don't leave the darkness. He advances nearer, his gaze fixated on my concealed area. "I told you there's no—" Greta begins, but Bennett cuts her off with a harsh gaze. "Shut up, Greta." His voice is grim, his words clipped as his hand creeps for the knife at his belt. I clench my fists, every part of me screaming to flee, but I can't. Not yet. If I make a rush for it, they'll get me before I even get out of the turret. "Come out," Bennett growls, his voice low and menacing, the monster in him taking control. His eyes sweep the darkness, his muscles stiff, ready to attack at the first movement. "I know you're there." I remain immobile, my body rigid with terror. My mind is running, trying to find a way out, but all I can see is Bennett's form closing in on me. He's nearly close enough to reach me now, his hand lingering near the blade he holds. Greta eventually glances up, her expression transforming from fury to suspicion. She goes closer, her keen eyes narrowing as she surveys the situation once again. "Who's there?" she says, her voice colder than ever. My heart is racing so fiercely, it seems like it could explode out of my chest. I inch back even more, praying the darkness would keep me concealed. But Bennett's glance is steadfast. He takes another step closer, and I know it's just a matter of time until he finds me. "I'll give you to the count of 3, Bennett growls, his voice low and loaded with danger. 1. Run, Aurora. 2. My muscles scream at me to move, but I'm trapped. If I flee, he'll see me. But if I remain, he'll catch me regardless. What do I do? 3. Just as Bennett's hand extends out toward the wall, I dart into action, diving behind another stone structure before he can notice me. My foot slips on the soft mud, and I bite back a yell as I crash hard on my side. "Someone's here!" Greta screeches, her voice overflowing with triumph. "Find them!" Bennett's eyes flame with wrath, and he strides toward the sound. I rush to my feet, my heart thumping in my chest as I race for the doorway, anxious to escape before they grab me. But Bennett's too quick. His hand leaps out, grasping my arm just as I reach the entrance. He yanks me back with a force that knocks the wind out of me, knocking me into the cold stone wall. "There you are," he snarls, his face inches from me. His grasp tightens on my arm, and I can feel the wrath blazing in his eyes. Greta comes closer, her lips twisting into a vicious smirk. "I knew it," she hisses. "You couldn't stay away, could you, Aurora?" My pulse accelerates, dread flooding my veins as I attempt to get away from Bennett's clutches. But he's too powerful, his hand like a vice around my arm. "I should have known you'd try something," Bennett murmurs, his voice low and threatening. "You always were too curious for your good." My breath comes in quick spurts as I face his icy, furious eyes. I've been caught. Bennett's fingers bite into my flesh as he takes me back into the middle of the watchtower. Greta's eyes gleam with malice, and I can feel the weight of the trap closing in on me. There's no escape now. Bennett's face is so near to mine I can feel his breath on my skin. "You thought you could outsmart me?" He sneers, his voice dripping with venom. "You're a fool, Aurora." My chest tightens with anxiety, but I won't give him the satisfaction of watching me crumble. I keep his look, refusing to betray weakness even though I can feel my heart beating in my throat. "I know everything now," I spat, my voice quivering despite my best attempts to keep tough. "You and Greta, you're both finished." Bennett's eyes darken with wrath and he tightens his grasp on my arm. "You don't know anything," he murmurs, his voice low and threatening. "And now you'll never get the chance to tell anyone." Narrow escape. Bennett's eyes are flaming with rage as he tightens his hold on my arm. I prepare for the worst, but before he can approach me again, the night air is broken by a bone-chilling howl. Bennett is stopped in his tracks by the loud, shrill sound that reverberates across the jungle. Everything pauses for a second. As Bennett hears the cry in the distance, his head jerks up and his eyes narrow. Just enough of his hold on my arm lets go, allowing me to twist away. Not in my opinion. Instinct takes control. My heart slams against my ribs as I dash into the woods, my body moving before my thoughts can keep up. My feet thud against the forest floor, each step quicker than the previous, and I barely control the need to scream out. I stutter over roots concealed in the shadows and feel branches slap against my face, but I keep going. I'm unable to stop. I must leave. Bennett's piercing, enraged voice can be heard behind me. He yells, "Get her!" It's to Greta. "Don't let her get away." The sound of their voices diminishes as I press farther into the woods, the trees closing in around me like a protecting barrier. The roar saved me, but for how long? The darkness fills me entirely, the shadows swirling around me as I run. My lungs burn, my legs scream in protest, but I can't afford to slack down. I'm too poor to make a noise. They will pursue me if they hear me. I force myself to continue, even though my breath comes in harsh gasps. The trees in the dense forest stand tall above me like silent guardians, their branches obstructing the moonlight. I don't care that I can hardly see where I'm going. All I have to do is keep going, keep hiding, and keep moving. Their voices are still audible behind me, but they are getting progressively softer as I move. Bennett is enraged. Greta as well. I am aware that they will keep looking for me until they locate me. Every beat of my heart serves as a reminder that I'm still not safe. The sound of my own footsteps and the pounding of my heart are the only sounds coming from the strangely calm woods as I look over my shoulder, almost expecting to see Bennett's form towering behind me. I must continue. My goal is to return to the pack house. I must caution Callum. Will he even believe me, though? As I run, the question keeps nibbling at my head. Recently, everything between us has been extremely tense because of Bennett's manipulations and Greta's falsehoods. I'm not sure whether this will be the final straw that breaks Callum's tenuous trust in me. However, I have no other option. I must make an effort. I'm out of breath, and my legs are barely supporting me by the time I get to the edge of the pack house grounds. I stagger ahead, fatigue blurring my vision, but I keep going. Not quite yet. I must continue till I reach Callum. Ahead, the pack house looms, its lights illuminating the darkness. For a little instant, I have optimism that I might be able to persuade him. Perhaps this time he will pay attention. Then uncertainty, greater than ever, creeps in. Will Callum even want to listen to what I have to say in light of everything that has transpired, including the treachery and lies? What if he takes Bennett's side? What if Greta's influence has turned him entirely against me? I shake my head in an attempt to dispel the uncertainty. That's not how I can think. No matter how difficult it is to tell Callum the truth, he must know it. I enter the pack house by pushing open the entrance door. Even though the majority of the pack is already asleep and it is quiet inside, I can still feel the tension in the air. The whispers and speculations have been catching on like wildfire. As I ascend the stairs to Callum's office, my chest constricted. I have to try, but I'm not sure what I'll say when I see him. I must caution him about Greta and Bennett. I pause when I get to his office door, my fingers lingering over the handle. What if I'm not believed by him? What if this marks the end of our relationship? No. Right now, I can't let fear stop me. I think deeply before opening the door. Callum is hunched over a pile of papers while seated behind his desk. As I walk in, he glances up and narrows his eyes a little at me. The weight of all that has transpired looms over us like a thundercloud, and the tension between us is evident. "Aurora?" he adds in a deliberately bland tone. "Why are you in this place?" With my heart thumping in my chest, I take a step forward. "Callum, I must speak with you." He leans back in his chair and raises an eyebrow. "How about?" I swallow hard, perspiring in my palms. "It's this. I must tell him all about it. It's about Bennett," I add, trembling a little. "And Greta." When their names are mentioned, his face hardens, but he doesn't interrupt. For the time being, he is paying attention. "I followed them tonight," I add, trying to maintain my composure. "I heard them conversing. Bennett, all this time, he has been working with Greta. They have been plotting my downfall. Bennett, Callum is the traitor." There is silence for a moment. I can see the doubt beginning to sneak in and the incredulity flickering in Callum's eyes. His jaw tightens as he slowly shakes his head. His voice is low as he asks, "Are you serious?" I take a step forward to him and nod. "Callum, I wouldn't tell lies about this kind of thing. They were united when I spotted them. Bennett has been conspiring with Greta to ruin me, as I heard him say." Something flickers in Callum's eyes, rage, bewilderment, and disbelief. He gets up from his desk and paces the room as though he's still processing what I just told him. "Bennett?" He runs a hand through his hair and murmurs to himself. "I had faith in him." I whisper, "I know," my heart breaking for him. "But Callum, you must trust me. He is not who you believe him to be. Greta has been influencing him to turn against me. Before it's too late, you must take action." He turns to me and stops pacing. I can briefly see the fight waging inside of him because of the anguish in his eyes. He's unwilling to accept it. He doesn't want to think that his reliable friend Bennett might turn on him in this way. But I know in my heart that he senses the truth. "How can I be certain that you're not merely attempting to?" He bites his lip to stop himself. However, I was aware of his next words. "How can he tell that I'm not merely attempting to protect myself? Out of desperation or jealousy to get rid of Bennett?" My eyes ache from tears, but I'm not going to let them go. "Please call him," I mumble. "I'm telling you the truth, even though I know that our relationship hasn't been great lately. Greta and Bennett had been collaborating all along. You must have faith in me." The stillness stretches between us as he stares at me, his features unreadable. With everything bearing down on me, my heart feels like it's being split in two. It's this. Everything will be decided at this point. Callum sighs heavily, his shoulders hunched, after what seems like an age. He strokes his hair and averts his gaze. His voice is hardly audible above a whisper as he confesses, "I don't know what to believe anymore." Despite my tightening chest, I take a step forward and lightly touch his arm. "Callum, I know it's difficult. I am aware that you do not want to think Bennett could betray you in this way. However, we must stop them. Greta must be stopped before she ruins everything." His eyes are filled with doubt and sadness as he turns to face me. "Aurora, what if you're mistaken? What if?" I say firmly, my voice strong despite the fear churning inside of me. "I'm not wrong. I heard it. The betrayer is Bennett. Callum, please. You must trust me." His eyes scan mine for any hint of dishonesty as he looks at me for a long time, but none exists. I can only hope he realizes that I'm being honest. His countenance softens somewhat as he finally lets out another sigh. "All right," he responds gently. "I'll deal with Bennett." I feel a wave of relief, but it's tempered by the realization that this is far from done. They're still out there, Bennett and Greta, and they won't stop until they've stolen everything from me. However, I can't get rid of the notion that this is just the beginning as Callum approaches the door, prepared to face Bennett. The pack is already starting to turn against me, and Greta's power is greater than ever. Since I'm also losing Callum, how can I alert them all? Desperate plea. I don't knock. I don't even pause. I pull open the door of Callum's office, my heart beating against my chest, my breath coming in jagged spurts. I can feel the trembling in my hands as I hold the door frame, forcing myself to remain upright even though my legs feel like they're going to give out. "Callum," my voice broke. My sadness was real and unrestrained. I can't afford to hold back. Not now. Callum glances up from his desk, confused at first, but then his expression hardens. His eyes tighten, and I can feel the pressure in the air, heavy like a storm ready to burst. He's not delighted to see me, and that hurts more than I want to admit. "What's going on, Aurora?" His discourse is cold and controlled, but I can sense the wrath rising under the surface. "Why are you barging in like this?" I swallow hard, pushing aside the mounting terror that threatens to freeze me. "Bennett," I gasp, still battling to regain my breath. He's working with Greta. They're planning." My words seize in my throat, the weight of the news nearly too great to handle. "They're planning to destroy me." For a minute, there's just quiet. Callum's eyes flicker with something. Surprise? Disbelief? I can't tell. But he doesn't talk, and the stillness is oppressive. I stride forward, dread clutching at my chest. "You have to believe me, Callum," I implore, my voice quivering. "I overheard them. They're planning to take me down. Bennett, he's been working with Greta this entire time." Callum stands slowly, his chair squeaking against the floor as he climbs to his full height. He crosses his arms over his chest, his mouth hard, his gaze fixated on me. You overheard them? His tone is suspect, and it slices through me like a dagger. Yes, I nod uncomfortably, taking another step closer. I heard them talking. Bennett stated it himself. He wants me out of the way. He's been aiding Greta from the start. But Callum's expression remains steely, inscrutable. His calm is oppressive, and I feel the terror swelling within me, threatening to strangle me. You expect me to believe that Bennett, my most trusted advisor, is plotting against you with Greta? Callum's voice is low, almost too calm, and that makes it worse. There's no rage, no shock, just cold, hard uncertainty. My stomach twists. I knew this would be hard, but hearing the skepticism in his voice, seeing the way his eyes hardened, made it seem impossible. He doesn't believe me. He's already made up his mind. I know it sounds crazy, I continue, my voice quivering, but I go on, unwilling to let the dread stop me. But you have to trust me, Callum. I wouldn't come here like this if I wasn't sure. Callum's jaw clenches, and he shakes his head slowly. You've been under a lot of stress, Aurora. You've gone through more than anybody should have to cope with. But accusing Bennett, someone faithful to me for years... He trails off, his gaze softening just a fraction. How do I know you're not just trying to turn me against him? Against them? His words strike me like a physical blow, and I take a step back, my heart sinking. He believes I'm making this up. He believes I'm attempting to control him. Tears boil in my eyes, but I refuse to let them fall. I won't weep. Not now. Not when everything is on the line. I'm not trying to turn you against anyone, I continue, my voice firm now, but the grief is still there, a dull aching in my chest. I'm trying to protect you. Protect us. Bennett has been lying to you, Callum. He's not who you believe he is. Callum's expression maintains stern, but I can see the spark of uncertainty in his eyes. He wants to believe me. I can tell. But he's trapped between his allegiance to Bennett and his belief in me. And I don't know which side will triumph. Desperation tightens its grasp around my heart, and I do the only thing I can think of. I reach out, grasping Callum's arm, prompting him to glance at me. Callum, please, I plead, my voice faltering beneath the weight of my sentiments. You have to trust me. I overheard them. Bennett and Greta. They want me gone. They want me out of the picture, and they're going to stop at nothing to make that happen. He stares down at my hand on his arm, his expression confused. For a second I think he's going to draw away, to shut me out totally. But he doesn't. He stands motionless, observing me with those piercing, calculating eyes. You have to understand, I continue, my voice intense. I wouldn't lie about something like this. Bennett, he's dangerous, Callum, and if we don't do anything, if we don't stop him, he'll ruin everything we've built. Callum's stare darkens, and for the first time I see something flash in his eyes, something other than skepticism. He pulls his arm out from my hold, but he doesn't turn his back on me. Instead, he moves away, traversing the length of the room, his hands curled into fists at his sides. You don't know how hard this is, he mutters, more to himself than to me. You don't know what you're asking me to do, Aurora? Bennett has been on my side for years. He's been faithful and trustworthy, and you're telling me he's... What? A traitor? A liar? Yes, I answer, my voice firm, but my heart is thumping so fiercely I can scarcely hear my own words. That's exactly what I'm telling you. Bennett has been lying to you. He's been working with Greta, influencing you, turning you against me, and if you don't believe me, if you don't act now, they'll succeed. Callum stops moving, his back to me, his shoulders tense. He doesn't say anything, and the calm stretches on, thick and oppressive. I take a stride closer him, my voice relaxing. I know it's hard to believe, Callum. I know you don't want to think that someone you trust could hurt you like this. But I'm not asking you to choose between us. I'm asking you to open your eyes, to see the truth. He turns to face me, his countenance torn, his eyes filled with a whirlwind of sensations. And what if you're wrong? He says, his voice low, nearly a whisper. What if Bennett isn't the traitor you think he is? What if this is all a misunderstanding? A lump rises in my throat, but I will myself to push beyond it. I'm not wrong, I answer boldly, meeting his eye with as much conviction as I can summon. I heard them, Callum. I heard Bennett say it himself. He's been working with Greta all along. Callum glances at me, his eyes searching mine, as if he's trying to find something. Any bit of doubt, some clue that I'm lying. But I'm not. I'm stating the truth, and I can only hope he realizes that. For what seems like an eternity, he says nothing. The calm spreads between us, heavy with tension, and I can feel my heart cracking with every second that passes. He's torn between duty and love, between what he knows and what he's afraid to accept. Finally, Callum lets out a heavy sigh, his shoulders falling as he looks away. "I need time to think," he replies gently, his voice barely above a whisper. "Time? I don't have time. We don't have time." But I agree, swallowing the knot in my throat since I know I can't push him anymore. Not right now. He turns away, his stillness louder than any words could be, and I feel the weight of it bearing down on me. I need him on my side, but his silence, it's killing me. And I don't know whether I'll ever be able to break through. The tension is rising. The morning light sneaks through the thin drapes, throwing a faint glow over the room. I lay awake, looking at the ceiling, my thoughts a jumbled mess. Callum hasn't spoken a thing about our chat last night. Not a single word. His calm is like a big weight falling down on me, drowning me slowly. I run over in bed, my tummy knotting with fear. The way Callum had looked at me, split between skepticism and belief, haunts me. I wanted him to believe me, to stay by me, but instead he ran, leaving me alone with this huge weight. I roll out of bed, my body feeling heavy, a slow. The air in the pack house seems heavy, as if it's filled with worry. It's not only Callum's distance that's worrying me. It's the sense that something bigger is rising above us, something dangerous. I put on my clothes quickly, trying to shake off the fear that settled in my chest. When I continue down the hallway, I hear noises coming from Callum's office. I wait for a second, then move closer, my heart beating. Is he talking about what I told him? Is he finally doing something? But as I inch closer, the noises get clearer. It's Callum and Bennett. My heart falls, a bitter tasting in my lips. Bennett's voice is cold and smooth, and my blood boils as I hear him laugh quietly. I can't make out what they're saying, but it doesn't matter. The idea that Callum is still speaking to him, still trusting him, cuts harder than any blade. I back away from the door, my chest tense with anger. I've done all I can to warn Callum, but he's still hanging to the idea that Bennett is loyal. It's like he's blind to the truth, and I don't know how to help him see it. Later that day, I sat in the common area, trying to settle my fears. I'm looking out the window, watching the leaves move in the breeze when I hear footsteps coming. I look up to see Mia going in, her face worried. There's something in her look that makes my heart skip a beat, something intense, something disturbing. "Aurora," she says quietly, sitting down beside me. Her voice is calm, but there's a stiffness behind it that puts me on edge. "We need to talk." I nod, swallowing hard. "What is it?" Mia looks around the room as if trying to make sure no one's listening. Then she leans in closer, her voice falling to a whisper. "The pack is restless. There's been talk, rumors building. People are beginning to question things. My stomach goes into knots." "What kind of rumors?" She hesitates, her eyes sparkling with fear. "Greta's influence is spreading. She's been talking to some of the younger dogs, bringing up questions concerning you, about your job here." A shudder goes down my spine and I clutch the side of the sofa, my fingers becoming white. "What is she saying?" Mia frowns, her lips tightening into a tiny line. "That you're not fit to be with Callum, that you're weak, that you're an outsider." I feel like the earth is sliding out from beneath me. I knew she was trying to undermine me, but I didn't believe it would spread this fast. Mia reaches forward, putting a calm hand on my arm. "It's not everyone," she reassures me. "There are still plenty of wolves who are loyal to you. But if Greta continues this up..." Her words drift off, but I know what she's trying to say. "If Greta keeps this up, I'll lose the pack's trust. And once it happens, there's no going back." My head is running, my heart is hammering in my chest. I can't sit here and let Greta wreck everything. If I don't act now, I may lose everything. Callum, the pack, my future. I take a long breath, rising up and pacing the room. "I need to act fast," I say, more to myself than to Mia. "If Callum won't help me, I'll have to stop Bennett and Greta myself." Mia rises as well, her eyes widening. "Aurora, you can't do this alone. It's too dangerous." "Stop. Bennett and Greta, they're strong. They'll notice you coming." I stop moving, turning to face her. I don't have a choice, Mia. Callum won't listen to me. He's still trusting Bennett, and every second I wait, Greta's effect becomes stronger. If I don't do anything now, I'll lose everything. Mia's face relaxes, and she moves closer, holding my shoulders. You're not alone, Aurora. I'm with you. There are those who will stand with you too, but you need to be careful. Don't do anything reckless. Her words soak in, and for a minute I sense a spark of hope. I'm not alone, but the fear is still there, eating at me. Time is running short, and I don't know if I can wait for Callum to come around. I'll be careful, I vow, but the words seem empty. I don't know how much longer I can wait. Bennett and Greta are a danger, and I can't afford to let them keep getting ground. Mia nods, her face relaxed. Just don't make any rash decisions, okay? We'll work this out together. I fake a grin, but my heart is sad. Thanks, Mia. She offers me a short hug before leaving the room, but as the door shuts behind her, I'm left alone with my thoughts. The weight of the situation is falling down on me, and I can feel the fear rising in my chest again. I need to stop Bennett and Greta before it's too late, but I don't know how much longer I can hang on. As I look out the window, seeing the sun sink lower in the sky, I grasp that I may have to face my foes alone. Callum is still absent, wrapped in his own world of confusion and reluctance, and the pack Greta's anger is spreading through them like fire. Every second I wait, she gets more strength, and soon there won't be anything left for me to fight for. I can't wait for Callum anymore. There is no time to waste, and if I don't act soon, I'll lose everything. I have to be ready for whatever happens next, even if that means facing Bennett and Greta on my own, face to face. My heart is racing in my chest as I travel toward the training fields in the nervous night air. Even though I'm moving as silently as possible, it seems like every step is louder than the one before it. I stay low, out of sight, and in the shadows. I can't allow Greta and Bennett to meet without informing me what they have planned, since I know where they're going. Only the faint sounds of wind rustling through the trees can be heard on the lonely training grounds. In front of me, I make out Greta's silhouette, her form flowing through the darkness like a ghost. Bennett is already waiting for her near to the edge of the clearing, and she is headed directly for him. I crouched behind a huge tree, far enough away to be unnoticed, yet close enough to hear. I have to force myself to breathe evenly and slowly since my heart is racing. I must retain my composure. I need to think strategically about this. Greta pauses in front of Bennett and whispers gently. With a tone full of excitement, she adds, "Everything is falling into place." Aurora won't anticipate this. I get knots in my stomach. Even though I knew they were scheming against me, the horror was heightened by hearing it uttered out loud. Bennett's deep, sinister voice pierces the environment. "We'll make our move tomorrow. Aurora will not be able to survive." He speaks with certainty, as if they have already prevailed, as if I were merely a barrier that they were going to take away. My throat tightens every breath. Tomorrow. They will unleash their attack tomorrow. Their voices dwindle to a barely audible whisper as I lean in to listen to what they have to say. Bennett nods, his expression hard and serious, but I can't quite make out what Greta is saying. As the gravity of their strategy sets in, I bite my lip. They seek to destroy me totally, not only to make me weaker. Time is running out for me. I get irritated all of a sudden. They have been quietly preparing my demise, and Callum is still oblivious of the truth. Everything I've battled for will be lost if I don't take action right immediately, since they've been tugging the threads the entire time. I can no longer remain hidden. Anger is replacing the panic, and my blood is bubbling. With my sight fixated on them, I emerge from behind the tree. Despite my beating heart, I say calmly, "You won't get away with this." Greta clamps her eyes in amazement and hatred as she turns around. Bennett's face instantly hardens as his head whips toward me. For a spell, neither of us moves as the electricity between us crackles like lightning. Greta hisses as she approaches, her lips forming a scowl. "You've been spying on us," she says. "Like the coward you are, I should have known you would be hiding in the shadows." I tighten my fists at my sides, but I keep eye contact with her. I answer, "I'm not the coward. The people who have been hiding and plotting behind everyone's backs are you and Bennett." Bennett approaches me, his hands clenched, his eyes flashing with wrath. His raw strength radiating from him makes my skin tingle with fear, and his presence is overwhelming. His voice is low and ominous as he adds, "Aurora, you've made a mistake. You ought to have avoided getting involved in this." Despite my heart throbbing so wildly that I believe it may burst, I refuse to give up. I spit out, gazing at Bennett, "The only thing I did wrong was to trust you. You deceived all of us." For a second, I feel he could lunge at me as his eyes darken. Greta, however, intervenes and stops him by placing a hand on his arm. Her voice is overflowing with disgust as she exclaims, "She's not worth it. Give her her brief period of rebellion. It won't matter in the near future." Even though her statements make me tremble, I keep my dread hidden from them. "You believe you will prevail?" My voice rising, I ask. "You're not correct. I will not allow you to destroy everything." Greta laughs bitterly and sharply. She shakes her head and says, "Oh, Aurora. You're so innocent. Already, it's too late. You won't be believed by Callum. Already the pack is working against you, and you'll be nothing more than a memory tomorrow." My blood is heating up, and I can feel the wrath flowing through me. I grit my teeth and respond, "You underestimate me. You have always done so. You'll regret it, though." For a minute, the air between us feels thick and heavy with silent tension as Bennett takes another step closer and sets his eyes on mine. "You're out of your depth," he adds quietly, with a note of threat in his voice, "and there's nobody coming to help you." I glance back at him, refusing to flinch, but my mind is racing. He is correct. Callum has not arrived. The pack may be turning already, and I stand here by myself up against two individuals who are just interested in destroying me. However, I hesitate to show them my dread. I hesitate to show them my genuine level of terror. Despite my heart beating in my chest, I say calmly, "You'll regret this. I swear to you, I won't give up easily." Bennett smirks, a cruel grin that chills me to the bone. He approaches, his eyes burning with purpose, and exclaims, "Then it's a fight you'll lose." I'm temporarily still, my heart hammering in my chest. I can feel the tension between us developing like a storm waiting to break out as Bennett towers over me and his presence suffocates me. For a second, I'm unsure of what to do as my breath catches in my throat. The sight of Greta observing from the sidelines with a smug grin on her face, however, is enough to make me lose it. I refuse to let them prevail. I refuse to allow them to ruin everything I hold dear. I straighten my shoulders and look directly into Bennett's eyes. "You believe you can shatter me?" I ask in a steady, low voice. "You have no idea who I am." I sense a spark of doubt in Bennett's eyes as his grin wavers. It's tiny and almost apparent, but it exists. At that point, I realize that I will not allow them to succeed, regardless of how powerful they believe they are. "I'm not scared of you," I insist in a firm voice. "No longer." Bennett takes a step forward, his body tight for battle, his eyes narrowing and his mouth straining. Everything around us feels electric and charged, as though the pressure will suddenly burst. "You ought to be," he yells in a menacingly low voice. My pulse is throbbing in my ears and my heart is racing, but I refuse to give up and I maintain my position. The fear, the risk, and the uncertainty of what will happen next are all pressing down on me. Bennett pushes a step forward, his eyes meeting mine, and I realize instantly that this is it. There is no way to go back. Battle of wills. Bennett strides closer, that same arrogant smirk tugging at the corners of his lips, his eyes glinting with venom. "Aurora, do you think you can stop us?" With a confident tone, he taunts, "You're outnumbered." In the dismal moonlight, his presence lingers over me like a long shadow. I'm meant to feel intimidated by what he said, but I'm not listening. Right now, I can't afford to let fear govern me. I maintain my sight on him and take a steady breath, pushing the worry away. Despite my pulse hammering in my chest, I say confidently, "I don't care if I'm outnumbered. I will not allow you to ruin all that I have battled for." He crosses his arms and smiles even wider, apparently amused by my defiance. He tilts his head slightly and says, "You've always been stubborn. However, you're playing a losing game this time, Aurora. You ought to have avoided being entangled in this." The way he stares at me, with that smug conviction that he has already won, merely makes me feel more outraged. He feels that I am weak and will crack under the pressure. However, he is unaware of how stubborn I am. He has no clue how far I will go to protect what is properly mine. I plant my feet firmly on the ground and square my shoulders, not wanting to give him the joy of seeing me stumble. I reply in a harder, more determined voice, I won't let you take everything from me. Not without a struggle. For a second, I can see the spark of rage in Bennett's eyes as they narrow. He didn't foresee my adopting this attitude. When he was still acting like he was on my side, he expected I would cower like I usually did. However, those days are now past. As if the air itself were sparking with electricity, I can feel the tension between us becoming thick and heavy. Despite my instinct to leave, I force myself stand put and approach him straight. I'm not going to give up. Not right now. Bennett sneers, approaching closer, and says in a low, frightening voice, You're crazy if you think you can win this. Aurora, the pack already considers you as weak. You're losing control, and nobody will be there to pick you up when you fall. Even if his statements sting, I try not to show it. I can't afford to seem weak in his company. You're the one with the delusions. I snap back, elevating my chin a bit. You're foolish to imagine that you can overcome me. I will not go down without a struggle, and I will not go down by myself. Bennett's controlled demeanor suddenly falters as his jaw tightens. He shouts, You're wasting your time. Callum's commitment is already starting to weaken. He no longer has trust in you, and the other members of the pack will soon follow suit. His statements were like a strike to the belly, but I decided not to show it. I know in my heart that he's aiming to annoy me and fracture me before the real argument even begins. I can't let him, however. I must continue to think that Callum still cares and that there is still hope for progress. The tense stillness is broken by a cold, nasty chuckle, and I glance away from Bennett to find Greta eyeing us with her arms crossed and a grin on her lips. Aurora, it's already too late, she adds in a furious voice. Callum's commitment is weakening, and we will soon seize control of the pack. All you're doing is delaying the inevitable. She says it with such conviction that it chills me to the bone. She feels she has already succeeded, that everything is under control between her and Bennett. The saddest thing is that they may be accurate. However, I refuse to surrender to that dread. Not quite yet. Despite my racing heart, I say, You're wrong, in a stern voice. You underestimate the might of the pack. You may poison their minds, but it won't make them turn against me. Additionally, Callum will see through your falsehoods. Greta, evidently unhappy by what I've said, raises an eyebrow. With a scornful tone, she replies, Keep telling yourself that. But don't claim I didn't warn you when it's all over and you're standing by yourself. I feel the fire of rage building inside of me, blazing through the terror, and my hands curl into fists at my sides. You suppose that you can just take everything away from me? My life? My pack? With the rage swelling inside of me, I take a step toward them and raise my voice. I refuse to allow it to occur. Never, ever now. Greta stares at Bennett as her smile only gets broader. She nearly chuckles at me when she adds, She's getting desperate. Really, it's kind of pathetic. Bennett's face tightens and his eyes contact mine with a frigid intensity that makes me quiver. His voice is low and frightening as he screams, Enough of this. Aurora, we've spent enough time on you. What is going to happen cannot be prevented. Bennett takes a step closer, his eyes never leaving mine, and the tension crackles in the air, thick and stifling. He's not simply here to speak anymore. His goals are apparent. I notice the shift in the air, the deadly edge to his stance, the way his muscles clench as though he may strike at any second. Even if my heart is racing, I'm not going to give up. Even though I feel the weight of the situation crushing down on me and terror crawling up my spine, I refuse to back down. I know I'm running out of time, as Bennett's eyes are blazing with a dreadful brilliance. Greta looks from the sidelines, her smile unbroken, as if she's taking in the sight, as though this is all a game to her. But for me, it's either this or death. I push myself to swallow as my mind rushes, seeking for a way out, for anything that may help me get the upper hand. However, Bennett continues to approach, his presence unpleasant and smothering. In the blink of an eye, I realize that I'm not only battling them, I'm attempting to beat the clock, turning the tables. Before Bennett can strike, a voice rips through the tension like a sword. Not so fast. The familiar sound of Callum's voice cuts through the night air, making my breath quicken. He walks out from the shadows, his towering form lighted by the dim illumination of the moon, producing long, scary shadows on the ground. For a minute, time appears to stand still. Bennett freezes, his hand halfway to me, ready to attack, but suddenly his movements are halted. A sneer begins to develop on his lips, but the sound never entirely exits. Callum's frigid glare holds him in place. His eyes are piercing, concentrated, and loaded with unstated wrath. The air is heavy with worry, so much so that I can feel it sparking on my skin like static electricity. Callum. I mutter, my words scarcely heard above the thumping of my heart. I'm filled with relief, but it's short-lived. There's something inscrutable in his gaze, something that unsettles me. He looks strange. There's a roughness in his attitude that wasn't there before. I don't know whether it's because he's upset with Bennett or if it's intended at me. The notion of the latter sends a shudder down my spine. He walks forward slowly and deliberately, each motion controlled and exact, like an animal eyeing its prey. With every step he takes, the gap between me and Bennett rises, and for that, I'm pleased. But there's also something unsettling about the way Callum moves. He's not just defending me, he's confronting Bennett in a manner that seems considerably more personal. Callum inserts himself squarely between me and Bennett, his body sheltering me from the approaching harm. The protective motion should soothe me, but there's something about his posture straight, tense. That puts me on edge. He stands straight, his chest heaving with controlled breaths, as if he's attempting to keep a lid on the storm rising within him. "You think I'd let you betray me again?" Callum's voice is piercing, striking through the thick quiet like a scalpel. There's no trace of hesitation, only cold, iron determination. It's not the first time I've heard this tone from him, but there's a surety in his words today that makes my stomach churn. Bennett bounces swiftly, his signature smile reappearing as he attempts to shrug off Callum's comments. But I can see the little flash of uncertainty in his gaze, the way his muscles stiffen ever so slightly. He wasn't expecting this. Betrayal? Callum, I'm only retrieving what's legitimately mine, Bennett sneers, his voice laced with arrogance. His glance moves to me for barely a second, full with hate. Aurora was never yours to begin with. The anguish of his words strikes deep, and I shudder, feeling the weight of his allegation. But before I can react, Callum takes a stride toward Bennett, his mouth tense, fists frozen at his sides. His whole physique exudes tension, like a spring coiled too tight, ready to shatter. "She's not an object to be owned, Bennett," Callum says, his voice low and threatening, "and you've crossed the line for the last time." The intensity in Callum's voice sends a chill down my spine, and for a brief time, I feel the full scope of his power, his raw, uncompromising might. I've always known Callum was cautious, but this is different. It's as if he's willing to break the world apart to keep me safe, and the sheer weight of his affections is nearly overwhelming. Bennett, however, doesn't back down. He squares his shoulders, his mouth curling into a scowl. "You think she's loyal to you?" Bennett dares, his words dripping with venom. "After everything? After all the lies? You don't even know the half of it, Callum. She's been concealing stuff from you, things that would rip your treasured pack apart." Callum's eyes darken at Bennett's comments, his jaw clamping harder. I can see the fight playing out behind his eyes, the uncertainty, the suspicion. My heart drops. Bennett's words are pouring their poison into Callum's psyche, exactly as they were supposed to. But Callum doesn't move, doesn't react the way Bennett wants. "I know enough," Callum says, his voice subdued but forceful. "I know enough to see through your lies, Bennett. You've been conspiring behind my back with Greta, and that's all I need to know. You won't walk away from this unscathed." Scene 3. For the first time I see Bennett stumble. His trust wavers, only for a fleeting second, but it's enough. His eyes wander seeking toward Greta, searching for support. But she doesn't speak. She stands there, her cold, calculating eyes fixated on me, her lips curled into a little, vicious grin. She's waiting for the proper time, waiting for a gap in our defenses. "I won't let you take everything from me," I respond, my voice calm but full with anger. My heart is racing, dread and resolve dueling within me, but I know I can't afford to show any weakness. I come closer to Callum, feeling the warmth of his presence alongside me. It grounds me and gives me the power to stand tall. "Whatever you're planning, it ends here. You won't win." Greta laughed, and there was a sound so frigid and hollow that it sent a shudder down my spine. Oh, Aurora, she mocks, her voice overflowing with malice. It's already too late for that. Callum's devotion is waning, and soon enough, the pack will be ours. You can't stop what's coming. We've already won. Her words strike me like a blow to the belly, and I instantly look toward Callum, scanning his face for any hint of doubt. There it is again, the doubt, the hesitation flashing behind his gaze. It's just there for a second, yet it's enough to make my stomach churn. Greta's remarks are cutting their claws into him, and I'm not sure how to stop it. But before I can say anything, Callum takes another step forward, his stare set on Bennett, his words hard and unrelenting. You think I'd let you win? His comments are like a challenge, challenging Bennett to make his move. You don't know me as well as you think. Bennett's sneer falters utterly now, and for the first time, I see actual dread in his eyes. He wasn't expecting this, wasn't expecting Callum to be so adamant, so eager to stick behind me despite the seeds of doubt Bennett attempted to sow. But Callum isn't backing down, and Bennett knows it. Still, this isn't over. I can feel the tension rising again, like the quiet before the storm. Greta isn't done yet, and neither is Bennett. This war is far from done, and I have a dreadful feeling that the worst is yet to come. As Callum squares up against Bennett, the air crackles with electricity. The weight of all that's transpired weighs down on me, overpowering in its intensity. Callum's devotion has swung back to me, but the war is far from won. Greta's eyes glitter with anger, her lips curling into a knowing grin. Bennett's hands clench into fists, his body twisted like a spring, ready to attack. The actual struggle is about to begin, and I don't know whether we'll all make it out uninjured. The fight begins. Bennett is the first to move, and I'm surprised by how quickly she lunges at Callum. His fists are a blur, pounding out in unadulterated, unbridled rage. I fall back, watching in dread as the two males who had previously been comrades now battle fiercely and desperately as the impact of their bodies hitting sends shockwaves through the air. I can hardly hear the snarls and groans of the battle taking place in front of me because my heart is thumping so loudly in my chest. Callum, wearing a mask of icy resolve, blocks Bennett's first blow, but Bennett persists. He swings once more, striking Callum's jaw firmly this time. Callum stumbles back, blood streaming from the corner of his lips, and I flinch as the hit reverberates around the clearing. He doesn't fall, though. Callum snaps back, his fist striking with bone-shattering force into Bennett's side. Bennett grunts in pain at the horrible sound, falling over for a second before swiftly getting back to normal. Their eyes are caught in a struggle of wills as much as strength, and they are both breathing heavily, and their muscles are strained. This is a very personal war, not simply a physical one. I want to scream and tell them to stop, but I can't get the words out of my mouth. Watching the two guys I care about destroy each other paralyzes me, locking every muscle in place. How did this happen? How could things have gotten so out of hand? An abrupt motion diverts my focus from the vicious battle. Greta approaches me, her lips clenched into a scowl, her eyes ablaze with rage. Her eyes have a ferocious intensity that makes me shudder. She accuses me of doing this. She holds me responsible for everything. She shoots out, "This is your fault, Aurora." Her words oozing with malice. She had the kind of hate that makes my skin crawl in her deep, menacing voice. None of this would have occurred if you had simply stayed out of the way and not interfered. My instincts tell me to run, and I take a step back, my heart hammering. However, I don't. I am unable to. Running is no longer an option. Not with Greta gazing at me like a predator poised to attack. The clash that has been festering between us for far too long cannot be averted. "You did this," she cries, approaching a step farther, while her outraged eyes sparkle. "You turned Callum against us, and now notice the current situation. You are the reason why everything we have battled so hard to build is collapsing." With my heart beating in my ears, I forcefully swallow. "Greta, this was your decision. Bennett and you. Callum was betrayed by you. The pack was betrayed by you. All of this is your fault." For a minute, I can see the craziness in Greta's eyes, the desperation, the hunger for power, and her lips twist into a sneer. She is prepared to go to any lengths to win because she has been pushed too far. Her voice raises as she hisses, "You have no idea what we have done, what we have given up for the pack. Aurora, you are nothing. Feeble. Horrible. You don't deserve to be in command, and you don't deserve Callum. I don't allow her words break me, even if they felt like a punch to the belly. I say, I'm not weak, straightening my shoulders and speaking steadily. I also won't allow you to break us up. Greta's face twisted in wrath, and before I could be ready, she came at me with her hands like claws. The intensity of her attack knocks me off balance, and I hardly have time to react before we collide. We collapse to the ground, engaged in a terrible, violent struggle for our life. As I battle to keep my position, my pulse is racing and my veins are saturated with adrenaline. Greta is persistent, trying to pin me down with her nails digging into my flesh, but I won't give up easily. I grab for whatever I can use to shove her away from me while I claw at her. My thoughts are a cloud, a maelstrom of resolve and horror. All of my instincts are telling me to fight back and survive at all costs. Leave me alone. She's strong, stronger than I thought, but I gasp and try my utmost to push her away. She yells violently, her nails cutting into my arm and leaving a trail of searing pain behind them. With her face inches from mine and her breath warm against my skin, she yells, "Aurora, you should have stayed out of this. You have no place here. You didn't. I can't allow her to succeed because her statements are like poison that penetrates into my skull and seeks to ruin me. I won't." I manage to release one of my legs as I swirl beneath her, my adrenaline racing. I kick out fiercely, and she sprawls backward from the impact of the strike. My chest heaves with exertion as I rise to my feet in preparation of her next assault. With her eyes burning with wrath, Greta is already standing, and I can know that she won't stop until one of us is defeated. This is a war for everything, not just for survival, for Callum, for the group, for my own life. I quiver but firmly say, I won't let you take everything from me. I can feel the immensity of the issue and the weight of the moment weighing down on me. This time, no. Greta rushes once more, her motions fast and brutal, but I'm prepared. Our bodies slam together with bone-jarring intensity as we collide again. There is raw, desperate hatred in every punch, claw, and blow. I can feel the severe anguish of her strikes dropping and the sting of her nails ripping into my skin, but I don't let that stop me. In return, I utilize every ounce of strength I possess to fight back. We're engaged in a terrible dance of violence for what feels like an eternity, neither of us wanting to yield an inch. But I feel like I'm losing energy as the conflict goes on. My breathing is coming in ragged gasps, and my limbs are feeling heavy. Time and strength are running out for me. Furthermore, I'm not sure if I have the strength to succeed. I can feel my hold fading as I try to retain my posture. Greta's strength is overwhelming, and the conflict gets more heated by the moment. I'm battling for my life, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to endure. I can't stop up even when my body screams in protest, and my vision becomes fuzzy. Not right now, not with everything on the line, defeat or victory. Greta's fists lash out at me, and her fingertips brush against my arm, but I manage to whirl away from her. The anxiety that I can't afford to lose at this moment is reinforced each time my heart beats, not when everything is on the edge. I shove her away from me with a sudden, powerful thrust, and she stumbles back. Every frantic breath I take burns my lungs, and sweat pours down my face, obscuring my vision. But I can't give up. I can't let her recover. My body is hurting from the struggle, but I ignore it and focus only on surviving. Greta growls and steadies herself, anger flaring in her eyes. She is by no means done yet. Her squared shoulders and sharp jawline give it away to me. Like an animal in a corner, she is frantic and deadly. You never know what she'll do next. "Aurora, do you believe you've won?" She sneers, her voice venomous. "You are just a helpless little girl acting out a behavior. This is not the place for you. You didn't." Even though her remarks make me wince, I refuse to let them break me. Not right now. Even if I tremble, I say, maybe I don't belong. I won't let you take anything away from me, though, not without a fight. Greta's lips curl into a savage sneer, and I catch a glimpse of her madness in her eyes. She leaps at me again, faster this time, and I just escape her attack. The adrenaline in my blood makes me want to act and move faster, and my heartbeat quickens. Every second seems to go on forever as we circle one another, searching for a weakness or an opening. I am aware that my time and energy are dwindling. My body is screaming for me to quit, but I can't. Not until she loses, that is. Not until this nightmare is over. A sudden noise behind me causes me to peer over my shoulder, my breath catching in my throat. Punches are still being exchanged in Callum and Bennett's intense struggle for dominance. Blood is all over the ground under them, and from the way Callum moves and clenches his muscles with each blow, I can tell how exhausted he is. But he doesn't give up. He never does. As I turn to look, Callum throws Bennett to the ground with a force that makes the earth quake. Bennett is momentarily stunned and unable to breathe as the impact's loudness echoes through the night. Callum is standing over him, his chest heaving and his eyes burning with a rage I've never seen. His strength is amazing and his might is clear. Bennett doesn't have any chance. I don't have time to think about what's happening between them, though. Greta is still standing in front of me, her eyes blazing with anger, and I know she won't give up quickly. For that, she has gone too far. This is intimate to her. It transcends power. Greta spits out, "You'll regret this," she said in a trembling, angry voice. "I'll see to that." I clench my fists, my heart pounding in my ears. Thus I say, "You've already lost," in a calm, quiet voice. "It's finished." Greta screams in rage, her body tensed with rage. With her hands spread wide like claws, she charges at me, but this time I'm prepared. Steering clear of her blow, I grab her arm and pull it behind her back. She fights against me, but I hold on. I can't. I fling her to the ground and pin her under me with everything I have left. Even though my hands are shaking and my muscles are burning from the effort, I refuse to release go. Not unless I'm positive she won't get up again. As I restrain her, Greta shouts once again, her voice brimming with utter displeasure. Her claws sift through the earth beneath her, but to no avail. There is nothing she can do, because she is pinned. When her anxious gaze meets mine, I see fear for the first time. Horrible. I mutter, my voice hardly audible above a whisper, "It's over." My chest is rising and falling with rapid breathing, and my heart is still pounding. I am unsure of the source of my power, but I am aware that this moment is critical. She is about to end her reign of terror. It has to be. Greta takes a brief break from her struggle. Her body becomes still beneath me, and I wonder whether she has finally given up the fight. However, there is something that chills me to my core when I look into her eyes, a perverse and malevolent glimmer that lies just beneath the surface. Although she may be down, she's not out. Not quite yet. "You believe this is the end of it?" When she whispers, her voice is so quiet that it gives me the chills. "This is just the beginning, Aurora. You have no idea what will occur." Waves of anxiety wash over me, making my stomach turn. What is she planning? What could be worse than this? Before I can react, a hand touches my shoulder, causing me to jump in surprise. Callum has arrived. His face is bruised, and a gash above his brow is gushing blood, but he is still upright. His eyes look into mine with a mixture of relief and fatigue. And he says simply, despite the chaos around us, "It's over. She's finished." I want to believe him, but Greta's face tells me differently. Even if she might be defeated for the time being, I still feel like this isn't the end. Something else, something bigger, is approaching. Moreover, I am uncertain about my readiness for it. I tighten my grip on Greta as uncertainty races through my mind. Her words reverberate in my mind, the ominous promise of something more profound and horrifying. She's crushed beneath me, yet the gleam in her eyes is a warning. And whatever happens next is going to be worse than everything we've experienced so far, I suspect. I turn to face Callum, who is wearing a terrified grimace. He's here. He's with me. Is it enough, though? Can we endure the challenges that lie ahead? Greta's lips twist into a small, cynical smirk, as if she's already won a fight we haven't even started. My heart thuds in my chest, and I feel fear eating away at me from the inside. What is she going to do next?